My name's Jack Hodgins, welcome back to my channel. It's time for the Phantom 3 Pro build. So we're going to do the repair on it. So this is one that's got the broken sort of bent sort of chassis shell, what I call it. So we're going to move all the gubbins from this and we're going to put it into its brand new shell which arrived the other day, so we can actually get this installed and then we can get it all back to the owner. So with the shell, let me go a bit more detail on the shell. So with the shell, it's about between 50 and 60 quid. I can't remember the exact price on it. I should have looked at my invoice that came with it. So you get the shell. Unfortunately, they've put the shell together, so I'm going to have to be very careful when I open this up not to damage the actual clips inside. And then what comes with the shell, you get they've got some spare landing gears, so we'll add all these on there. So we might as well put it all together for him as well. So we've got brand new landing skids as well, and also comes with all the spares of screws. So if I lose any screws on that one, or where it's lost any screws on flight, we've got all brand new screws in here. It's got lots of stuff, screws. There's a little plate for all the bits around the side here. It's even got the feet as well, the actual rubbery feet at the bottom there to go on there. So everything's in this pack. So it all comes with the shell. I expect that. That money we pay for the shell, I expect loads of bits of it. So there we go. It's got good lots of bits. So we'll start doing a video. I'm going to do some time-lapse video between all the stuff, because I suppose you don't want to see me undo every single screw. So we'll go through and we'll sort of like cut the video into little sections so you can see me unscrew it. A nice high time-lapse video for that one, and then we'll have a good look inside, go over to see what the board's inside, see what the gubbins look like, and then we can slowly start taking things apart and move it across. I tend to do what last build I tend to have both out on the bench side by side next to each other. I tend to then sort of like take apart and shift it across, and we do a video of all that as well. So I hope you enjoy this video and I hope it's informative for you guys. So now let's crack on. Right, we're going to remove basically we need to move these sticker labels off and stuff. I mean, I've got some spares that come with my Phantom 3 standard, so we'll put some nice, I think we've got gold ones in there as well. We'll replace them back. If not, I think when you buy these you get a whole pack of these anyway, so we'll gently remove these off. So it's just literally you can gouge them that because they're going to be replaced anyway, because you can't remove these off and try and put them across because it loses all stickiness anyway. So we'll take them off, strip it down. So let's take that off, and I'll take some photographs through this build as well. Come off nice and easy, and so you can actually see the footage. And again, if you guys are doing this yourself because you've broken yours, then I'll do lots of still images and they'll be up on the gallery on my website, and we'll leave them up there forever basically. So you can always refer back to them and basically use them as a guide. So they're very easy to move off. So and I've got to make sure I've got all the tools for this as well, because I know they've changed some of the torque settings on these to be slightly a bit different to the others, so I've got to make sure I've got all the tools. I bought a whole complete torque set that I was using for my helicopter builds, so I should have all the right ones for it as well. And again, what I'll do is at the bottom of this video I will put details on what screw torques, what number torques you need to actually do this stripping down build as well, and go from there. I've got some spare plastic lugs here because they're very hard to take off without damaging, but because you can't remove this off or the plate off until you actually take these plastic lugs off. So those two are actually will break off because I've got spare anyway, so it's not a problem on that side. The rest is sort of quite self-explanatory, taking off all screw base. So we're going to go. So first of all, we'll actually take the top off, and then we can have a nice look inside, and this will give me a bit of an idea how we can get. So once I start, I'm going to undo the screws, and when we get to the lug bits, I'll explain to you how to remove this off without breaking the lugs, hopefully without breaking the lugs. So let's get some high speed footage of me undoing all the bolts to get it ready to take off. so far I've got some of the stuff off. This is really clever. These are little plastic. This is all built into this little plastic module here, and they slide nicely in the legs. And there's like a groove bit here. They slide in, so they're nice and easy. I did a photograph of how to get these out. So here's a picture up here. How I actually got them out. They just literally slide in there. They fit really snug in there, and you just sort of get the flat screwdriver and just slowly sort of pierce it up, and it comes out, and it comes out basically like these. So you got we've got 1, 2, 3, and 4 just here. This one's a bit more hard to get to because I've got to unscrew this 2 screws there. That comes off next. Then I can get the screwdriver, the flathead behind this, and then slide off, and that slides off really nicely. And I've done it this way round because the screws on these ones here are hard to get to. So they've got different sizes. So first of all, I started off with this one here. It's a T6 times 50 mil, okay, and that did these ones here. So the first 2, not where the motors are, but the first 2 here, and then I had to use, because this wasn't gripping properly, I then had to use this one here, which I think is the same. It's sort of very small. This is showing as a CR something T8. Is that a T8? T6, yeah. So it's just I suppose a T8 is, yeah. So I've got a T8 on here, but I'll put all the details below. I mean, this screwdriver tends to have everything going basically, so that was more easy to grip, where my one kept spinning around there. So I think it's a bit cheapy, nasty tools. So make sure you get some decent kit when you're doing this. So yeah, so I had to remove the landing leg on that side so I can get to these 2 bolts here. I've got to remove that one. Just got to remove this one here, and they are very tight, so be careful, no cross threading, because you need to use these on the other one. And if you end up cross threading and can't get it out, then it's going to be very hard to get this chassis out. We're going to have to start tearing it apart, which we don't want to do. So avoid that. So make sure you've got nice screwdrivers, nice firm grip, and you can get them out nicely as well. These are actually not, if you notice on these screws here, almost done, helps we've got a magnet. So these screws here, which is on the race ones closer to the landing gear, comparing to the ones that are on the side here, they're different. So you got an actual proper thread sort of on that side, and here you got a nice sort of finer thread. So they're different screws. God knows why they're using different screws for different parts, because on the Phantom Vision Plus, all these 3 screws on the legs here were all the same, and more or less the same as what the motors hold in, but the only difference is on the Phantom Vision Plus, these end ones were sort of like a bit like those screws, like those at the end there, but they've done them differently. Different screw there, different types there, different ones there. Why, I don't know. But yeah, so we've got mainly so far we've got these screws off here. I'm just going to carry on getting this one out here and off. Then we're almost there, and because the case is sort of almost a collapsed in part, it's going to be very easy to get this case off. So we have to be very careful when we actually do the shell itself. So I've got the leg to take off, finish the screws off of here. I'm going to dismount the camera so we can get this off, take the camera off nicely, and then we can get to the plate on this and then start working backwards and stuff. So yeah, we're almost there. So a bit more time lapse here. We're getting there now. We've just got a little bit more obstacle here. So when this one's come out and unscrewed the little plate that's off the bottom landing gear here, you'll notice they've used the glue inside for the board. So I'll be very careful now to sort of chip away the glue so I can get this out safely without scratching it, because this is a tiny little circuit board with a few bits and pieces on it which we don't want to scratch or do, because obviously it's very important. So I'm going to get that cut out nice and easy. So I'm going to probably use a scalpel and work way out to get it out, and then we can get on removing the shell and so forth. So almost there. So legs are off. Get that glue off, so that will come out. Then we can then take this off, and then the shell itself. Then we can start taking all the bits inside out, and then start looking at transferring it over. So far so good, nice and easy. Remember there's little plastic bits like this there that acts like a bit of a sealant for the cables to run up the legs, so remember, keep them safe. I've placed all my screws over here on this plastic container, and I put them in different groups so I know where they come from as well. And again, because I've got this video, I can always play it back to say where things came from, so it's quite handy. So yeah, so you remove those. There's one on each leg, so there's 4 of them. Well, that one's gone inside, so doesn't matter if it goes inside because we'll get it out later. So move it up. And remember to put them back as well. So all these little bits you've got to remember to put back afterwards. Come on up. There you go, comes up nice and easy. So got one there, thought she's gone inside, we'll sort that out a bit later. So nice and easy. Remember, take your time with this, don't rush, because it's lots of things and it's expensive to take apart and move about, and things can easily get broken because they're like tiny little cables, tiny little boards, things like that. So yeah, so we're getting there. So now the next bit we're going to do is I'm just going to chip away at this and then get on taking the shed apart, and then we're going to have a look inside. I'll be very careful when you take the camera off, because once you've disconnected the 2 bits here, then the camera, then you can then sort of squeeze these little pads with your fingers gently like that, and they'll gently pull out. So squeeze them nicely, gently pull out, then the camera is then ready to sort of take off. And on this side connector here, this side here, you need to pinch it with a tiny little clip pinch, and it pulls out, and the other one just pulls off. So that brings the camera back nicely. So as you look underneath, that's when it goes into the sort of sonar sort of sensor bottom here. So that pulls out nicely. And the one that comes out from this clip here is you need to pinch it, and as you pinch it, put it up. It comes out nicely. It's got like a lock tab. Comes out nicely there. And if I show you this up a bit close, you can see on there, there's the tiny little clip thing. You need to pinch that as you pull the cable out, and it'll come out nicely for you. So there we go. So that's the camera removed off. I left the camera lock on it as well, so it's not dangling about. So that's the close up. As you can see, has a built-on fan here now on the gimbal, and obviously it's got like sort of like a heat-tight sink on there to sort of pull out. Obviously, what gets hot in there is another way it's absorbing the heat as well. So there you go. That's the little fan. The gimbal up nice and closely. Yeah, it's nice. So quite nice design as well. So 4K on the side, SIM card in the top here, and on the standard they put the SIM card actually in the top of the camera instead. So it's like 2 different gimbals, and it just slightly changed the design between the standard and the Pro. So there we go. Be interesting to find out if the Advance has the memory SIM there, or whether they've got it in the camera. But yeah, we'll have a compare with that one of them soon. So that's the camera removed. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave these lugs on, because there's no point taking these off because they'll go back on anyway. So I'm going to undo the 4 screws here. I've got 2 screws here to remove, and probably a bit more cabling underneath. And then we can ready then start taking the top shell off and have a close look inside. So a bit more high-speed footage. This seems to be a common one to use, which the bit I'm using is a CRVTA. That's a sort of size, I don't know what that represents back to, but that's what I'm using. Also, I was using this T6 50mm for a couple of these screws here earlier, but I put all the details of the tools on the comment below anyway for you, so you know what tools I used. So let's get some high-speed switch in. Next piece I'm going to remove this piece off, and I'm going to flip her over, move the top off, and then we can have a close look inside. Well, that was hard. Got them off, and looks like I've got them off without breaking, I think. Yeah, it looks like I got them off without breaking. So you lift one side up, and I'm finding sort of pinching this and pushing a little bit makes them clip out. Because in theory you've got like a hook and you've got like a groove thing there that sort of like sits like that, and if you push enough they pull apart. So you don't have to apply much force to it, and they do come apart, but it is difficult because it's frustrating as well as just trying to slide your fingers in between it all. You don't want to pull it apart, you need to pull it apart just gently, then squeeze and push on the side here, and those clips will just clip off. And they should clip off without breaking. So I've got one here, okay, so there's one, and there's clips, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them. And if you push gently enough, they all clip up, and from looking at them, they all looked intact. So I haven't broken any of the clips. So that's good going. That's the actual damaged shell. Before you lift this up, just if you get the back of the Phantom looking at you, okay. So I've got the back of the Phantom looking at me where the battery slides into. So it's looking at me here. There is just right in the middle of it, just about here, underneath, is a very small cable which is the GPS. So I'm just checking, and it looks like I can just pull it out. So gently lift the lid up. It's only a very short cable. Get your fingers in there or some sort of like pinchers, and gently pull the cable up. And you should just disconnect it, simple as that. So there's the lid off. So there's the lid underneath. So that's the little cable. So it pulls off, and it goes on one part of the board, so it's easy to remember. So what I've got to do is I'll take the gubbins out of this and transfer that to the shell. So we'll do that shortly. So we'll just put that to one side for the minute, so we can have a proper look inside. I had problems getting this sensor off because even the smallest one I found undid one screw, which I got out nicely, but the other three looks like they're going round. It looks like my screwdriver is too small. Even though it took one off, it hasn't done the other three, so may have to drill those out. So I've got a feeling those spare screws are in the pack you get with this, which just makes it handy. I'm hoping I can remove these 3 screws without busting them, but I've got a feeling they look like they've already been threaded before, so I don't know that's where it's been built or where it's been like that, because it is a slightly different, but they all seem to be very slightly different screw heads. Most of this is, so you end up using quite a few different tools. So I'm going to check the screws are in here first, and if they are and then I'm going to try and get these out manually. If not, I'll just drill them out basically just to get the unit out, and that's that to remove. So underneath here we've got four motors to move. The main board, lucky enough, the main board has all the ESC built into it as well, so it looks quite straightforward. Couple of screws as well, 1, 2, 3, 4 screws, what I can see so far, that's holding this board in. There's a few cables here and here that's going under the board, okay, so I've got to be careful of that as well. So I'm going to take a photograph of this as it is before I take anything off, because then I can use a photograph to work out which cable goes back into. But it looks quite straightforward anyway, because most of these cables are different sizes, so they should only go on the board one way round anyway. But I'm going to take a picture of it, so it makes it much easier if I do forget, or one looks a bit weird on the other, I can look at the picture what it looked like before I took it off. So it makes the job a lot nicer. So there's a close-up of the insides of a Phantom 3 Pro. So that looks like the flight controller. So they've actually changed that, because this is the Lightbridge version, because in theory this is Lightbridge installed. So this is what a Pro looks like with Lightbridge. So yeah, quite nice, isn't it? Very much more tidier than the Phantom 2 Vision Plus was. And obviously the cables on the motors as that thin looking cables they've got. And then you've got your lights here, that's your light board for the lights underneath as well. So yeah, so also remember when we're taking this out, this little clip at the back here is facing the battery bay at the back. Now, as you can see from the clips, so they're the clip things they hook onto. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them. They all look intact and look like they're not damaged at all. So that was quite good getting them off. So what I'm going to do is carefully now is I'm going to remove this board. I got some so that black cable there and that cable there runs down to the sonar sensor thing at the bottom here. So I should be able to remove all this without worrying about the sonar sensor. I'll get it off a bit later. So there you go. So that's what I'm going to do next. Unscrew that, and we're almost getting it out. So it's almost done now. It's almost completed. Get it out of its case. So while I've got it open, I'm going to take some pictures, so I know where things go, and we'll put them up on the website for you to have a look at as well. Right, yeah, so the motors are off now. So I managed to get the motors off. They've got a weird tool, but all the tool details I'll put below. As I said, they are sort of different bits for different jobs here. And I managed to get all this off intact about the screws. So the screws were the correct ones, just using a slightly different tool to get that off. But when you lift this off, because this doesn't actually lift the whole thing off the board, it comes in parts. So you have to be very careful, because there's a tiny little cable here that connects up in the top here. So using a flathead screwdriver here, you'll notice when you've got the cable plugged in, there's a little tab on it. If you just push the tab down gently and just flick it, it should just come off nice and easy. So you just literally push down the tab and you flick it off, comes off nice and easy. So that's that bit, and that's the cable there. It's a very tiny little cable there. So now this is held in with 4 tiny little screws either side. I don't know why it's not one great big module, but obviously, yeah. So there's 4 screws here. Then that board should hopefully be able to slip out once I've done the underneath off as well. So there you go. So we're getting there. So a bit more to go now. So just go unscrew the main boards, and then we can start removing this off. But I think I'm going to remove this top bit off here to make the cables more easy to get out. So I'm going to photograph it and then get it out. And there's a tiny little button here, little button here. So that must be like a reset button. So on the side here, it's also got a light button on the side there, and it looks like it's got like maybe it's a reset button on the side there, not sure, but I just noticed that on there. You can't see when it's on there, but it's just down the side there, and there's a little push button here. So that must be a way of hard resetting, or maybe manual resetting this. But those sort of things will question DJI on. So what's that little button inside there, unless it's in the manual? But we'll have to read the manual and have a look. So I'm going to put that to one side. Remember, keep everything where they are. Keep all your screws nice and neatly. I've grouped my screws up, so I know exactly how they all go back on here as well. That's a tip to do. So a bit more high-speed footage. We're going to remove those 4 screws here. We're going to remove the cables from this so that unit can come off. Then we can get to underneath, taking the main board out, leaving hopefully just the shell behind. Well, that's the main board out. It is very tricky. The tricky part is you've got this connector here, which is obviously screwed in with a tiny cable this side here. So remove the 2 screws from that, and it should all come out in one great big part. As you can see here, motors, the lights, the power cable, all that's come out on the board now. So that's the board. I could be very careful because I want to pull any cables off. So that's all the boards, motors, all that in one great big go. So that's all stripped off. So we're going to move that, put that to one side so it doesn't get damaged. Okay, and now it just leaves us now with this sensor unit at the bottom to get out, because it looks like it's held in quite tightly. So I'm gonna, because I've got to feed the, these are the antennas, I don't want to take them off. You can unplug them from the board and they come out, but I want to try and take them off and push them down through the holes without completely taking them out, because we'll make sure they go back in the right places. So I suppose we've got short for the back end, long ones for the front, and there's a cable there that needs feeding through, and I think that cable here, oh, that can now be taken out now, because that's disconnected from the board. So that's one cable to worry about, so that's off the board now. And I think that's the compass bit part of the board that went down the leg, so that's off now. So put it to one side, and then we've got this black cable, that's the USB port coming out. That's another little plastic thing, we'll keep hold of those, that'll go back in later. Then you've got this sort of, because inside the other chassis it doesn't have this framework here, so this framework here, as you're seeing, okay, all this here is not in the other brand new shell, so this would have been an extra option. So we'll unscrew that out as well, which actually looks quite, there's a tiny screw at the bottom there. Make sure you've got a screwdriver, it's got a magnetic thing to it, because these are really tight places to get the screw in. There's no way you can get your fingers down here, so make sure it's magnetic. So remove this plate here. So there's 4 screws holding this bit in, so I'll put that screw to one side, and there's 2, no, it's just one, so 2 one side, 2 down this side, only 1 screw this side, and it looks like that's what holds this plastic sort of tray in place. So let me just get rid of that. Unscrew, and this should then pop off, I think. Is that? No, and there's another screw down the end here as well. Then that'll then give you access to the USB port to unscrew and take out as well. So in theory, it is 4 screws holding this in. So there you go. So there's 4 screws holds this in. So this is what's does not come with a shell. So you need to make sure you move this out of it as well. So I'm going to put all the 4 screws with that together over here, so we know that belongs to that. And now we've got a bit more easy access, getting these cables fed through to the bottom. So this is the USB port on the bottom here as well. So again, tiny little screws. So take those off. Please make sure you use the correct tools for this, because there's such tiny little screws. You don't want to. You can easily cross thread them. I know that the chassis comes with lots of spare screws, but I'm not sure exactly whether it comes with all the screws to hold this in, where it's just a small selection of stuff. Then that should then just wiggle out. Nicely wiggles out. So that's the USB port. So I put that to one side. And now we should have that cable we can feed through now to the bottom. And that comes out on its own. So again, no rush in this. Feed it through gently, no pulling or snagging it, because the last thing you want to do is break these cables. So they should all come out nice and easy. So that cable's out. And we've now got these aerial ones to feed through, and this cable to feed through here. You've got like a rubbery strip down this side here. Not sure that actually comes with the chassis as well. So we'll have a look inside. No, that comes with the chassis, so that's fine. So we don't have to worry about removing this like plastic rubbery thing. It's already in the other chassis. So we can now, oh look, it's got a screw part here. You can actually take this piece off here too. So it allows you to get access to the bottom even better. So what do is do that. Actually remove those screws with the USB port. So what I put the USB port over there. That goes there. Right, so remove 2 screws there, and there is 2 at the bottom here. 1, 2. to. Quite loads to this. Really is lots to do to this. So just then that should then remove that top piece there. So there you go. That removes that top piece there. Again, that does come with the it does come with the shell piece. So you don't need to there, but you can always keep that as a spare anyway, if you wanted to, because that's not damaged. So we'll do that with the case. Now we've got a bit more access, so we can now feed these aerials up through the legs and bring them down a bit. Makes it bit more easy to work with. These bits you do not want to snap or break. These are the really important part. So that comes up, and then that one comes up. So okay. And now we've got quite easy access to the bottom bit now. So we can now sort of look at feeding all these cables through without actually taking it off the board. So that's quite handy. So there you go, look, that's the board now. So on the side of the board, you've got an aerial connecting here. And you've got another aerial connecting in here. So you can tell how tight they are. You could probably take them off or get them out, but they're very tight fitting to it, and I don't want to strip it all down. Got another one this side here, and also you have another one this side here as well. And I don't want to remove those off, because that would mean feeding and it's just too fiddly. So the easy option is just to get it all in one great big go. So we'll remove these screws, because we did take them off but I thought I'll put them back on just to get the rest of it out. Probably a lot easier that way around. So put them screws back there. Then we should hopefully be able just to lift this up. Okay, so get the screws. Fiddly stuff, it's like taking a watch apart. So yeah, so these now I should now be able to feed these up gently through the case. Be careful. Will they go up through the case? Yes, they do. Okay, and another one. Fiddly stuff. Again, take your time. I've not rushed this because this obviously don't want to mess it up. Okay, so that's 2 out, and then we can start moving this. So I think I'll move the black cable first because it's the thickest of the cable. So feed that through first. I should be able just to wiggle it out, comes out nicely, and then we'll just feed each one of the aerials through next. So they're just wide enough to get these through. So this must be how they actually installed it in this way. But I've got a feeling the chassis is a bit too thin that side. Not allowing me to push it through. A bit of a struggle. Let's move this over that side. We're gonna have a better look at the other side as well. So not as easy cut dry as we thought it was going to be. I don't know, I might be able to push it through, but I've got a feeling I'm going to have to disconnect it. I'm hoping not. I just want to be so much easier and just squeeze. Yes, it does squeeze. Look, it's a bit tighter, but it will give a little bit. So pull that nicely. And last one, but not least, yeah, there's a little bit of a give in the plastic. It's allowing you to feed it through. Oh, that was hard work. So that's the chassis now gone. This is the damaged part as well as the top part. So there's no more stuff on there we need. I think these come with, yeah, they come with the plastic bits for the lights, so we don't need to remove those off of here. So that's just chassis done with. That's off. So not much to it, is there, I suppose? And does the one comes with its own? No. So we're going to have to try and get this out as well, because we're going to have to move that over to the other chassis. So we'll put that to one side. We can deal with the little bits later anyway. So there you go. So that's the sensor part bit here. As you can see, all this little aerial bits. There's a little fan inside here as well. Give you a better closer look as well. So that's it. What looks like all stripped down. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop that back on top, because I don't want to damage the circuit board bits, but that's the first thing we're going to need to fit into the other shell. So can move that out of the way. Start there a second and clear this off. On the arms, bit, you got the lights. They're actually just hot glued in, so they just pop up, and they're not screwed in at all. They're just literally hot glued in the top that keeps them in there. So I need to get a hot glue gun tomorrow and quickly tap in the those little bits. So yeah, so that's all shit. That's pretty straightforward. Now I need to pop off the case on here, which I did before. I don't think there's any screws holding it down. No, all screwless. So in a new case, it's going to be a matter of just pinching and squeezing, I suppose, to pull this apart. Oh, it's bloody hard work. Lift up gently, and it should just find where the lug hole is, and it should just push out. So there's one hole here, one here. So it's pushing and yeah, that's give way. So we'll give the other way, the other side away as well, and it should then won't need to push back in. It's not easy. Come on, clip off. I think I'm hitting the wrong part. Right, I'm gonna pull this part off camera because it could be for hours doing it. It is hard, but be careful. I can see the lug holes inside where they are, which makes it a bit more easier, but it's still hard because plastic's quite hard to squeeze in. But it is squeeze in, bit of perseverance, and they will pop off, and we're having a new shell. We can start loading all the gubbins back in. So I've done this video over a couple of times because you probably know there's a different variation on the videos. Because I started out daytime, this is evening now, so I didn't want to rush it. I want to get it all properly done right. So I'm going to actually get this off, and then we'll start installing it back in, then we can then get a flight test done. So there you go. So there's yeah, I'm going to do a time-lapse video now of getting this out basically and getting it all prepared, because again there's not much really now. It's just literally now getting the case off, throwing that lot of stuff into it. So yeah, so we'll do a high-speed footage of that.